But back to Rory, I think, you know, what has everybody talking is the fact that all 4 days of competition, he said no to media requests. He is the face of the sport. He's coming off that career Grand Slam. People want to hear from Rory. In fairness, he did a wonderful walk and talk with Johnson Wagner on Wednesday, but I'm just curious how you see, you know, Rory's avoiding the media through all 4 days of competition.
Well, with Tiger, you know, not playing much anymore, so we don't hear much from Tiger Woods. I would argue that Rory's the most important voice in the game. I'd say he's the most thoughtful voice in the game. I'd say he is the voice that most everybody in the world of golf would like to hear from. So it is disappointing. You know, perhaps, and I have no idea really why or what's behind him not talking to the media. Perhaps it's linked to the controversy that surrounds, which I didn't understand. It's a non-issue.
You're talking about the driver.
The driver that didn't pass a test. Again, he wasn't driving it particularly well last week with his old driver. He was looking at the face. As a matter of fact, if you were watching last week when he was hitting drives, he was looking at the face, so he would have known that something was, you know, up with the face. He gets it tested. This happens all the time on the PGA Tour. I mean, Xander Schauffele's driver famously failed a few years ago at the Open Championship. And here's what I'm talking about. You know, I was working last week with Rich in the studio, and, you know, it wasn't the normal Rory off of the tee. So, you know, after this tee shot, and again, this is in the first round, he's looking at the face. He's like, yeah, I mean, takes a look at it, like, what's going on here? Yeah. So Scotty's driver failed. It happens all the time. You know, it's not an indictment of Rory. It's not an indictment of the equipment companies. And I have no idea why anybody would be accusatory towards him with this regard. Again, it's a non-issue in my book that glared up when everybody in the world has a voice in social media. And there are loads of people who can chime in the world of golf who don't understand the nuance of this.
Absolutely, Brandel. I mean, that's the world that we live in nowadays. Look, I mean, my view is very clear. I said it about Colin Morikawa. I'll say it about other players. I'll say it about Rory McIlroy. I don't like when they don't do interviews. I don't think it's good for the game. I don't think it's good for their persona. And, you know, Rory is very popular, as you say, and, you know, you run the risk of undoing a lot of the popularity when you don't speak, whatever his reasons were, I don't know. But what I will say about the equipment issue, and Scotty Scheffler is correct, and I agree with him, the authorities need to take ownership of this and not leave it down to the players to deal with it. And I think they could have got ahead of the story this week. They tested 30 players. Scotty has just said there that he had an issue with his driver as well. So why didn't they come out and just be transparent and make a nice announcement at the start of the week? Or do something every single week that it's, I mean, there's enough money around the game. Have somebody there every week that checks 150 drivers. It's not difficult, Rich. Yeah. And it's a shame that this kind of stuff is coming in, and now the people on social media are putting together, well, how long has it been that kind of driver? And, you know, was it at the Masters? Was it not? I mean, this is all speculation that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler addressed this in his press conference not long ago.
Was your driver one of the ones tested this week?
Yeah.
And did you have to make any change?
Yeah.
And how did that go? Did that have anything to do with hitting it left today?
No, I think that was my fault. No, so the driver testing is something that regularly happens on tour. You know, my driver did fail at the beginning of this week. We had a feeling that it was going to be coming because I had used that driver for over a year. And so I was kind of fortunate for it to last that long, I felt like. And I would argue that if we're going to test the drivers, we need to be even more robust in the way we test them. And that was a conversation I had with one of the rules officials is I think if it's something that we're going to take seriously, I feel like we're almost going kind of halfway with it right now, where if we're going to test only a third of the field, I mean, if we're going to do it right, you know, leave it up to us as players like the rest of the rules in the game of golf are. This is just, it's a newer rule that we haven't quite gotten right yet. And I think we have some stuff to figure out, and I think if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right and get even more robust, even more strict. And, I mean, you can test guys every week if you want. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't.
So Scotty put that to bed right there. Yeah. You have a little phrase, Media 101?
Well, Media 101 is to get ahead of a story. And it's I mean, look, it's something that if the USJ were here checking, why not be transparent? I really have an issue when there's not transparent. And then the PGA put out a statement to say, oh, we're protecting the players. You're not protecting the players. Quite clearly, you've exposed Rory. And you know, Scotty has admitted that he's had it as well, but that rumour didn't come out. Rory's rumour did come out, and all of a sudden speculation on social media escalates, and it's out of control.
Do you think
if they had got ahead of it at the start of the week, we do it every single week. We always find a number of players, and
Rory's so good with the media. Couldn't he have just put it to bed? Had he said, hey, this happens all the time. To your point, face wore out, and I changed drivers, just as Scotty did right there. Wouldn't that have put it to bed?
Would have.
And here we are Sunday, and you know the press overall has been a little bit critical of Rory.
Paul makes a great point. I don't know why the lack of transparency. It's not a big deal. Announce it. Do it regularly. I couldn't agree with you more.
You're not protecting the players when you keep everything secretive. That leads to speculation. What is there to hide about it?
Yeah.
These faces are so thin nowadays, and the speed that these guys put into the driver, sometimes they crack and sometimes they wear. That's a natural thing that happens in the game. Let's just take it for what it is.
And by the way, the difference would be infinitesimal. It wouldn't matter an inch or a foot. It wouldn't matter. It'd be infinitesimal, if anything. And you just look at the way Rory was looking at his driver last week. It might be the source of poor driving last week and this week not having the right driver.
You feel, Paul, though, he has a responsibility that he should have spoken this week, even if he was upset, and what we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But do you feel he does, as the face of the game, and given what he just did at Augusta, that he has a responsibility?
I think everybody does, Rich. I really do. I mean, it's not because I'm sitting in the media now, but, you know, I see the game is projected through the media. People want to hear what the players have. Rory is a wonderful... he's a wonderful interview. He always gives insight, good, bad, or indifferent. He has views. Not everybody agrees with that, but he has views. He's very eloquent. He puts it across. And to be denied 4 days of that on the back of him winning the majors, of course it's disappointing. He had his reasons for it. I don't know what they were. But I think everybody loses out when Rory doesn't speak. And everybody loses out when Colin Morikawa doesn't speak. And everybody loses out when, you know, whoever you want to talk about. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau just gave an interview there. That was brilliant. That was honest. It was insightful. It was interesting. I mean, why? You have to ask the question again. Why are the players not mandated to do this? Why leave it up to the players? You know, authorities again showing leadership and saying, look, the NFL players do this, the Premier League players do this, all the teams insist on it. We are in a business, we're competing as a sport against other sports, and part of that narrative is to hear what the players have to say.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's forthcoming with the SSG. I think it'd be a great idea, but I think, you know, we kind of blur the distinction here. It's not talking to the media, it's talking to the world of golf. We're just the conduit to that. It's not that they're obligated to talk. And this is, I think, what hit the ear so hard with Colin Morikawa's comments. It's not the media, it's the world of golf that tunes in and watches and buys the product of the sponsors that pay their salaries. It's the world of golf. So when they don't talk, they are not talking, not to us, they're not talking to the world of golf. And you're right. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't pull for and love Rory McIlroy and thinks that he gives the most insightful, thoughtful answers in the world of golf. And there's no question that he could have put this to bed if he would have spoken. But to some extent, do you think that if you were a star, you know, a superstar in the world of golf today, and everybody in the world can get at you, and everybody has a voice, and everybody in the fringes of the game, you used to have to work really, really hard to get into the media center. You used to have to work really, really hard to have a prominent voice in the game. And now, you know, there are so many people in the world that fall under the umbrella of media, whether it be influencers, you know, you pick your social media site, and they all have a voice in the world of golf. And people are looking for a story, something to get likes. And the algorithms purposely generate negative content and purposely obfuscate positive content. Mm-hmm. So it's as much a product as the algorithms and the nastiness of social media that has to do with the critical, negative, constant comments that tsunami superstars. And if you're on, which most of them are, they're trying to engage, would that not make you just a little bit more sensitive and reluctant to talk?
It would. That's why I think Media 101, get ahead of the story and be transparent. Put a statement out there. And then after that, you say, sorry, guys, we already spoke about that. Put it to bed, move on.
And in this case, you know, you can understand from a player's point of view, if it happens all the time, this is not a big deal. Why are you guys in the media, making this something when it's nothing? In fairness to the media, if a guy's changed drivers and then he's driving it poorly or not as well as he typically does, you'd want some answers on that. You'd want to know why.
It's a story. I don't know if it's a big story, but it's a story for sure.